Welcome to the Auer Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you. Well, we've been talking about buyer's agents and how they're relevant. And with that being said, I think we need to start talking about pattern interrupters, as that has been a key topic in our meetings now for the last 2 weeks.
Why is any of this important right now? I mean, the market has shifted, right? There's so many things that are different now than...
Did the market shift?
Yeah. The reason why it's even important to talk about the relevancy of a buyer's agent right now is because there's been a market shift. There is so many agents that are still out there, but yet there's so fewer buyers, right? So all of a sudden it's like, how do you stand out? So that's why. Well, and that's
were talking where I was going with that is, it's hard to differentiate yourself unless you have a team of individuals who can help you be different.
Yep, I think one of the things that you heard us talking about in the office meeting the other day was the pattern interrupters. A huge thing you can do as a buyer's agent to stand out and to really connect with that buyer is to do something to interrupt their pattern, because the pattern of most buyers right now is they're online, they're looking at houses, they're going to see a couple of homes with a random agent, then they go back home, and then they do it again. They find some more homes, they connect with an agent.
But what does that really mean, though? I mean,
they're stuck in
there's a cycle, and we're all in the cycle, but what does it really mean? How are we going to interrupt that buyer?
Bryan, explain to us, what is a pattern interrupter?
Well, that's why I was describing the pattern first. The best way to interrupt that pattern is to do something to show them that, okay, no more do you need to just go back online to your whatever porthole you're looking at and find a house and go look at it with a random agent. I'm your agent. So you do things like come to the appointment with an incredible buyer's presentation, a package, I should say, that has, all the properties in it, that has, what to expect when buying a home, maybe some good lender information, things that are going to show that buyer that, wow, you're not just here to open the door, right?
Yeah.
You're really here to give me some tremendous value, and, you've come prepared with the tax records. You've come prepared with this really cool, we'll just call it a folder. That's what we use on our team. We have this beautiful folder where we have, we offer things like a VIP buyer program where we clearly state why we are so different. We should do a podcast on our VIP buyer program.
We'll get to it.
We'll do it.
I was going to say, we're definitely going to need to talk about that. That's an interrupter.
But that is something that interrupts the pattern. All of a sudden they meet you, you're totally prepared, you have all these cool, some eye candy, something they can actually, that's tangible that they can have in their hands and go, wow, they walk away from the appointment with you with, this incredible info, this packet of info. One other thing that you can do, that you should be doing to show that you're so human in the process and you're not just going to go there and open the door for them. But I heard one of somebody that I really respect, Dan Beer, was giving this example at a recent mastermind I was at. And he was saying, why not call him and say, hey, Blake, I'm on my way to the appointment. I'm about to meet you there at the house. I'm pulling through Starbucks. I'm a little early. What can I get for you? Little things like that cause somebody to realize this is not just going to be the same experience.
It's not a one and done.
It's not a one and done. This person is really sharp. Just doing little things like that, connect with them to interrupt that typical pattern. So I'm glad you asked that question, because I think that's very important. Pattern interrupt is good.
And that goes back to what we were talking about being loud and intentional, changing the game, changing what your focus is on.
Yeah.
And I know Blake and I were actually having this conversation about how to be loud, how to be intentional, and why it makes such a difference as an agent.
Yeah, and that's something that I've tried to do from day one, is be authentic. Be who you are, no matter what that looks like. Because when you're dealing in real estate, we're dealing with so many different people and personalities, and you can really connect at many different levels. But being loud and being out there that shows the social proof of you actually, being a realtor. It's showing that you're out there doing the deal. There's too many people that, will post one thing here or there that you can get a picture off of Google. But if you're out there doing videos and you're walking properties, you're showing up to home inspections, you're showing people that you're actually in the business, that's, going to be a little bit more adherent that that you are an agent. Mm-hmm. And right now in this type of market, you cannot be a chameleon. Everybody, when I started, said, "Oh, be a chameleon, blend in." Well, every chameleon just got lost. You have to be a peacock. You got to stand out.
You never heard me say that.
No, but you got to stand out.
Yeah.
And if you really want to add value, it's uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to do it. I don't like doing video. I'm not a huge video person, but I do a lot of them. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be intentional. I know the marketplace loves that. We live in an era that is informational driven. And if I can give them nuggets here and there regarding today's real estate market, they're not going to forget about that. You have to be intentional about being top of mind.
Yeah. So it's really the opposite of being a secret agent, right?
100%. You have to be out there. You have to know them. Let them know that you're still, no matter if the market's good, bad, indifferent, there's always so many opportunities, and you have to be positive.
Yeah.
When there's a market shift, it really kind of starts sifting out the part-time agents.
Oh, yeah.
And you're really going to see who the full-time agents are when this is all said and done.
Yeah.
It's very true. It focuses on where your intention really ends up. If you want this to be your career, then you're going to be the peacock, doing all the things that make you uncomfortable. Be it podcasts, getting on video podcasts, getting on in conversations where you probably don't belong, but you might as well participate because that's where you learn.
Well, and the truth of it is no matter what you do in life, if you have a why, the how and the when are going to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But you got to have the strong enough why.
I was just going to say, it's that why that matters, and it is the differentiator. And I mean, we've been talking MLS and everything else that goes on. How do we differentiate ourselves? And Blake was talking about being a peacock instead of a chameleon, and that goes on to the MLS agent and talking about what exactly is that?
Yeah,
and
we
I
were
know
talking about that.
That I struggle with it, and I think all new agents do struggle with it, especially when the market turns.
Oh yeah, I think what we were talking about the other day is how the MLS agent, the agent that's really focused on everything that they used to do for their buyers from the MLS, those agents are going to really struggle right now because there are, again, so many agents in this space and so fewer buyers that are willing to, make a move.
But I mean, can you blame them? They're literally watching the market drop.
Yeah, it's scary. So we've moved from a market of, I would really love to move and have that bigger pool. I would love to have a 4-car instead of a 3-car garage, to I am moving because I need to move. It's a need to move market. So the agents that came into this in the last 2 to 3 years and they connect with a buyer, put them on an auto drip from the MLS, eventually get a few calls and then put those people into escrow pretty quickly, those days are kind of gone. So if you're just an MLS agent, I would challenge you to change your thinking because you're gonna die. What you need to do is things completely different. You need to be an agent out there that knows how to not only do some unique things, but to convey through social proof that you do a lot of special things, like you're willing to circle prospect a neighborhood to find a home that's off market, that you're willing to
I would say even door knock it.
Yeah, some of the old school things.
Yeah, it's like a digital way of door knocking.
But doing both. The circles prospecting just to hit those that are tech savvy, and then the old school going in after the door knock.
Absolutely.
And even nowadays, it's not even a door knock, it's a ring knock.
Yeah. Or even this. Imagine if you were the kind of agent that just were sending, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that they said they liked, but you're not checking in enough with them to find out, sure, I'm sending you the right amount of square footage, but am I sending you the right floor plans? Because people are buying floor plans.
And I think a lot
square
of
footage.
And I think a lot with this shift has happened. Even if you are an MLS agent, people's priorities and what they want have changed and shifted. We know we ask someone, what are you looking for? Which criteria? They say 3-bedroom, 3-bath. 1,800 square feet. Well, how'd you come up with that? Well, I don't know. But as, things progress, you're going to understand what their wants and their needs really are. Mm-hmm. And as their agent, and we start building up to that, you're going to know what properties to send them and what not to send them.
That's right. Well, and that's why it can't be so automated from the MLS. I'm a huge believer in automation. You've heard me say it before, and I'm always going to say you can't scale a business without a considerable amount of automation, but we're not talking about automating just from the MLS, because that's not how to win the hearts of a buyer. You're trying to stand out in a sea of agents, and you're going to need to do so with, of course, you're going to use the MLS, but you're going to maybe send those properties to yourself so you can look at them, analyze those homes.
Maybe that's going back to what we've really been talking about, which is knowing what market we're in so that you can analyze what that looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know what market we're in, you're going to be the door opener versus the, I found the perfect home for you because it turns out you said you don't care about bedrooms. You need 3 of them, but you actually live in the living room and need an open concept.
And how many agents actually are making sure that they're sending the properties to themselves so they can analyze them and truly make sure that they're a real fit for that buyer before they just blast them out to them? It really makes so much more sense to send a property to someone that says, I found this one for you. Check out the backyard. I know it's a little smaller than you were hoping for, but there's no neighbors behind, so it kind of feels bigger. Those are the kind of things you can do when you're suggesting properties for somebody that is way better than just, you've got mail, and another thing for them to click on.
And Bryan, from experience, when you're going out and doing those things for your buyers and you're sending them properties, especially in a market like we're in now, right? Someone on our team showed a client yesterday 11 homes, and I said, oh, wow. There wasn't 11 homes in 2 months that would fit into someone's criteria. Now there's 11 houses you're showing them, which is awesome, which is great that we have inventory. I personally do not want to show a buyer 11 houses.
No.
So if I'm sending them properties and saying, hey, this is what it is, we're going to shorten that gap from showing properties to contract into escrow.
Yeah.
And that's going above and beyond.
Yeah. This really just dovetails right into knowing the market. Our market is shifting constantly, and we don't ever know if it has shifted until it's gone by. So, you hear buyers saying, I'm waiting for the market to turn. Cool. How are you going to know that? You need an agent who's going to be able to tell you where the market's at. And I know, we've been working with Blake, and Blake is the market king of knowing what the change is and where we're at.
Well, knowing the inventory is going to be huge, and it's not just what we see in the MLS, right? The resale market is always going to be a big staple, but now that the game has changed, new builds, there's a lot of opportunities in new builds. So even during COVID in the last 2 years, where the market was insane and new builders did not want us agents walking in their doors at all.
Nope.
Agents on our team, we were going weekly. And people say, why are you doing that? It's a waste of time. No, it's not, because we're building relationships.
Yeah.
Because what happened when the market started changing, all those agents started calling. Hey, you remember how we weren't offering a commission? Well, now I'm offering 4%. I have this incentive, that incentive.
The builder's agents.
The builder sales agents are calling. Yeah. So knowing the inventory, knowing what builders' incentives are out there is going to be a game changer for your clients. What builders are offering right now is unheard of. Some builders are offering, they're doing landscape. They're putting shutters in homes. They're paying all closing costs. They're buying rates down to 4.5%.
They're putting in nicer fixtures, things that they were used to be calling upgrades. They're now calling this as standard.
Lennar is buying a rate down to 3.99%, which is insane considering right now the rates are flirting with 7% right now in Southern California.
It's insane. And not only
crazy.
The builders, so you have to know what's out there, what they're offering, but you also got to talk to your lender because, we have a great partnership with our lender, and we're talking to him, if not weekly, on a daily basis, knowing what's going on with the rates, what programs they have, because whenever there's a shift that happens, the mortgage side comes out with different products to help buyers qualify and get into homes.
Exactly.
So it's all a partnership. It all comes together. You have to get out. You have to be doing video showing you're not sitting on the couch just sending MLS properties. You're actually out there walking the new builds. Hey, I'm here at Lennar with so-and-so, yada, yada, yada. And that's going to really help make you a more complete agent overall.
So I'm hearing you say that a huge way to stand out in the current market as a buyer's agent is knowing your product, knowing
100%.
the market. Yeah,
Yep. And you got it, and it's and the reason you know it is some communities are going to have higher taxes. They're all about the same, about 1.8 and higher.
Mm-hmm.
But some are going to have no HOA, some are going to have lower HOA, some are going to have amenities, some are going to offer RV parking.
Yeah.
So I have buyers that say, "Hey, man, I want this house that has an RV parking," and we're looking at house that RV parking. Well, they might be priced so high it doesn't check any boxes.
Yeah.
Where I can get them a brand new house with all these seller incentives, a lower rate with RV parking. But if I haven't done the legwork, I don't even know that exists.
Yeah.
I'm just stuck in the MLS.
Exactly.
So-
But I mean, that goes back to everything we've been talking about today. You know, market and changing and being the agent that's there. But how are we holding on to that buyer? I mean, communication, of course, and the relationship. But how do you build that?
Well, for me, real estate is a contact sport. And I know that if I get in front of somebody, my chance of closing them dramatically increase.
Oh, yeah.
So I tell everyone, you have to get belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball. That is where I stand out. And that is my, bread and butter. Now, with the communication, you have to communicate with them and be open. When they call, you got to answer. It's almost like when you first start dating. You're going to be texting them because you're building that relationship. My mindset is not, I'm their agent, they're my client. No, we are starting a friendship.
Yeah.
I want to know what makes them tick, what they're after. I'm sending them properties. What do you think of this? Feedback, so on and so forth. So as we go along on this journey, every time we're together, the dialogue we have is shaping their search more and more.
Yeah.
Through body language, and the only reason I'm going to get body language is watching them and how they interact in a home.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the conversations and dialogue after. How did you rate that home? So on and so forth. And then you use your pattern interrupters to get more and more scheduling.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of scheduling, and this might be a little bit off topic, but I learned something from somebody I really respect in this industry, and they said that, of course, getting belly to belly is super important. It's paramount in our business. Getting person to person, it's a contact sport. But once you're there and you're in person, there's so many nuances. There's a lot to learn about, connecting with that person, mirroring their personality, things like that. That's a whole nother topic. But when you leave that appointment, only two things should happen. You're either going to write an offer for that person, or you're going to schedule another meeting with that person. Those are the only two things that can happen when you meet with a prospect. You're going to write an offer, or you're literally going to schedule.
And you always got to be available, right?
That's right.
But that goes back into that's the final piece of this whole conversation is being easy to contact.
Oh, yeah.
My biggest pet peeve, and I know you guys have experienced it, you're calling. It says in the MLS, showing instructions, call agent. You call them, they don't answer. You can't leave them a voicemail because the voicemail box is full.
Can't text them because they haven't returned that either.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
So,
yeah.
And I laugh. I'm like, no wonder that property's been on the market X amount of days.
Yeah.
They never answer. So as an agent, you have to be available. Always be prospecting, building that pipeline. But when you do get belly to belly, you have to be intentional. You have to, get the next appointment. If you're not writing an offer, you're booking that appointment before you leave.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even in your cadence of communication with somebody, you really have to eliminate phrases like, "Hey, I'm just checking in with you," because when you say, "Hey, I'm just checking in with you," that's not a plan.
Unfortunately, it's too casual.
Well, it doesn't have a plan. If I say, "Hey, what's going on? I'm just checking in with you." Well,
Cool.
Okay,
what are we
great.
checking in about?
What
Pizza or
what-
dinner?
yeah, what are you checking?
Well, actually, I had one the other day, a couple months ago, and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to drop by and see how you guys are doing." "Oh, we're not home yet." And I'm like, "Well, oh crap, shit! I wasn't driving all the way out to see you. You guys live 2 hours away."
That's right.
But it's all in context. So
Exactly.
checking in could mean many things. Checking in,
Yeah.
following up, dropping by. Those are.
But instead of saying I'm checking in, if you say I'm calling you because I wanted to make sure you saw that property that I sent you, or I'm calling you because I wanted to make sure that you caught that article in that newsletter I just sent.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not getting my newsletter? Oh, here, let me check into that. Oh, it looks like you unsubscribed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Hey,
Can I
wanted to-
please resubscribe you to my newsletter because I think there's some great information. There's just little things to just be more intentional instead of just checking in. How's it going? Because
Always
that's
have an
awkward.
excuse.
That's
Yeah.
awkward.
You always have an excuse to call somebody. "Hey, I just got off the phone with my lender. I wanted to share this amazing information that's going on with the rates right now."
Yep.
And people are going to, and you can send that in a text message. It's a generic blanket text that people are going to bite at, and you just create a conversation.
Exactly.
And those are things that I've done for a long time, and especially on leads that are not the highest, or low-hanging fruit. These are, apples that are at the top of the tree. You can go through there and reach out to them. Hey, there's some exciting stuff going on. Would you want to learn more about it?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, phone's ringing.
That's awesome.
Well, I didn't want to end
stand
the
out.
podcast just like roughly, hey, that's it, we're done. But I think we're at a point where this actually makes sense. We've talked about why it's important and how being the buyer's agent and changing how you do it. You can't just come in and open a door.
Yep. You got to interrupt those buyer patterns with value, tons of value. You have to be intentional. You have to know the market. What are some other things we covered in a recap here?
Well, I think it's all about being relationship-based.
Having good communication skills.
Got to answer
social
the phone.
proof.
Yeah.
You got to crush it on the social proof right now, because again, there was a lot of new agents that came into this game or this career. Let's call it what it is. I love this industry, so it's a serious industry. They came into this because it was easy, and it was easy for a time. We're now coming into a place where it's not as easy. So
this is a growth opportunity.
If you want to survive, and I hope if we're talking to agents that want to survive, we're not saying get out now while you should. We're not saying that at all. We're saying, we welcome you. These are some things that'll help you.
Get out now while you still can.
Yeah. Run. Don't walk. No, but hopefully this is something that an agent can listen to and go, wow, these are some things I need to implement so I don't die,
And that's the key. It's really trying to make it so that everybody is successful.
You got to stand out.
Well, the truth of it is, what I love about real estate is there's no finish line. It's ongoing. It's a journey. The market's always changing. There's always going to be ups, downs, and difference. But there's more anything. There's always opportunities and ways to be successful. And if you say, hey, I got to do this by this deadline, yeah, that's good. That's called a goal. But ultimately, it's ongoing. It's forever.
And it just constantly changes, and the ones that survive are okay with change.
Yeah.
This is not a good career if you can't stand change.
No, you got to build your business to be able to compete in the marathon.
Yeah.
And, and also compete in the sprint, outlast and win the marathon, but compete in the sprint.
Yeah. Good call.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We will do this again.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Hey, wait, before you go, I wanted to quickly thank you for tuning in to the Auer Team Podcast. And whether you're listening on Facebook Live or you're tuning in on YouTube or maybe listening to a podcast, I wanted to just say, if you found any value in this, would you please take the time to like and subscribe? And if you leave a comment, that really helps the show as well. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.